is feeling betrayed because now he's like acting like he's all dismayed why people are concerned about this list.
Okay, so this list this cancels out every other thing that he's done, like settling a war between Pakistan and India, trying and going in and trying to make amends with Israel and Iran. Just this list that just cancels all the good that he's done
Well, I think
in the last 6 months.
was going to say a lot of people arbitrate, but I also like to think, look at, they brought it up in the midst of this thing going on, the flooding's going on, the tragic flooding in Texas. And he did, I can understand why he said it too, because he brought that right up. He said, with all the flood, what's going on here, the flooding and stuff is going on. So he did kind of put
Well,
that in perspective, I think.
in
Yeah.
the middle of a press conference about the flooding, you
Yeah.
don't bring up a freaking list.
Yeah. That what Stoop said.
The press need to figure out when to ask a thing about. Every single time, I swear to God, I'm getting tired of hearing. I want to talk about the list, honestly, but the press need to learn how to ask a question.
It's more crucial. I think more crucial prioritize. Yeah.
You got 100 kids dying, or you got 100 people
I think
dying.
it's 28.
Let's talk about the list. Really, what's more important?
Yeah, it's just as anger rousing ones. I remember Lindsey Graham's thing about looking at the thing that's going on in North Carolina. Then he brings up Israel. It's like, what the hell are you bringing up Israel for? Look at the people next door to you. So that's the
He
same
never
perspective.
visited North Carolina during the hurricane.
And that's his
I don't
next door
even
neighbor.
think that he even spoke about it.
Yeah, he wanted to get back to our friends in
I
Israel.
understand he's South Carolina and it
Yeah.
happened in North Carolina, but still, he's one of the most prominent politicians in the area. Why didn't he use his celebrity to bring more attention to it?
Right.
Yeah, he could lend his voice to that and maybe got more money on the voluntary basis. But yeah, I mean, so I think definitely he was more, what he did is more egregious than what Trump's, kind of dismissing of the list. And you're right, you brought it up earlier. It's like it's these, we don't know how long ago these crimes are committed. And I mean, does the US government actually have oversight or jurisdiction where they happen?
Well,
That's a
I
question.
think he said it was the Canary Islands. That it wasn't the Canary Islands.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
No, I think it was the Virgin Islands, but I mean, it's like, I don't know how much oversight how much oversight the U.S. government has at that point. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a legal expert.
But the thing is, these guys are so rich that went there. How you just seen it with P. Diddy? I mean,
Right.
we don't really. I don't know. I still don't know if he was guilty or not. What he was guilty of is getting in line with a certain type of individuals that had a vodka and promoting it as his own and deciding to go off on his own with his own brand and piss them off.
That's
It's
the
just
crux
not like a coincidence when he started doing that. All of a sudden, all this information started coming out.
It's like
You piss off the wrong person and the money guys, and then you're in the wrong trouble. Here's the problem. Here's the thing about that list. Ready? The reason that list didn't go out there was, and I got kind of a little bit pissed about that list. It was because Dan, what's his name? Bongino, who I do like, was the one that I was hoping it was going to.
But he was beating the drum as a civilian who had no idea what was going on in the know.
And the problem is, I think the problem is what that list proves to me is this: if you're a politician, if you're rich, and you're all this other stuff, you can go out and go do whatever you want to, screw whatever kid you want to, do whatever you want to do, which they do.
right.
Right? I'm sorry if you're dumb enough to believe that they don't, and nothing happens. Chuck Schumer all the way down, and I'm sorry if you don't want to tell me that they don't, but any politician that goes in there, all these politicians sit there and tell you that they don't do this stuff. They all sit there and have a circle jerks all day long. I don't know if you can say that or not, but they all sit there and use these kids. They are sick. All these rich people, politicians, celebrities, all these other people are sick. And these people run around after them. Oh, I want to be like P. Diddy. I want to be like this person. I want to be like, I want to be like, I don't know, Gavin Newsom. I want to be like this politician. I want to be like this. I follow all these different people. Joe Biden, who went after his talk about there's books out about him having showers with his daughters.
It was in her diary.
It was a diary. All these different people are sick-minded.
It's just go. I mean, you
got reporters who don't ask questions about that.
That brings up another things too. Like we're all the psychologists that you got to look at these type of people who are in power, and if there's certain attributes that gets them into power, those are the same attributes that allow them to get in what we deem as very
But what some people were alluding to is that Trump's on the list and there's information about it. Guess who had the list
Yeah,
for 4 years.
Biden.
the Biden
Do
administration.
you think if there was something about Trump
He would
in
have
that
it.
list that it wouldn't have leaked out?
Maybe that's the bright ray I could see that the possibility if it had been there. I have a tendency to think it might have been there, but you're right. The point is they would definitely use that as ammunition during the campaign.
There is a list. You gotta know there's a list because back when Queen was alive, when the Queen was alive, when her son was on there, he had a problem,
Right.
right? And they were going to go into it, but you know what? There's a lot of um guys that you can't get after them because they're adversaries and all this other stuff. All these stupid dictators, all these people like that, all these guys, all are sick in the freaking head.
Right.
So here's the deal: if you, the sooner you believe that and you understand that these guys are sick in the head, the politicians, the journalists, the celebrities, and all these rich MFers, guess what? They're all sick. They all go to the same parties. They all go to do the same stupid crap. They all swap wives, swap partners, swap kids, swap do whatever they want to do. You know, Leonardo DiCaprio, everyone makes fun of him, but guess what? They all do the same things. George Clooney, probably every one of them.
Yeah,
I mean, they all sit there and wang bang little kids, and all this other stuff, and then they sit there and go up and go sing a song. We are the world. I don't give a crap. Honest to God, truth. The longest time, I just got to a certain point in my life lately, the last month, where I was like, screw it. I'm tired
Well, I
of
think
this.
lot of the I think the curtain's been pulled back after COVID. That the
Yep.
people have had time to really see that these people are disgusting.
They are. Yeah.
They are.
That they're not the. I mean, think about it. When we grew up, a movie star, you only heard what the publicist wanted you to hear
Right.
because there was no internet.
Right.
There were no cell phones, so they did seem like they were bigger than life. They can't do that now.
No. JFK couldn't be a president today where
Oh, no.
everybody loved. Camelot would never be Camelot today.
Camelot, that's bullshit too. What is that Camelot bullshit?
okay.
No.
That's like
But everybody lived it.
Princess Diane. Oh, she's like Virgin Mary
Yeah.
to them.
I was like, I always thought that was weird coming from the Democratic Party back then in the '60s when Kennedy was in power. That was supposed to be the working class party, and yet they're saying hearkening to the days of Camelot, which is a king. Okay, you can't. Let's face it, kings didn't treat the average person well. Okay, so you want to say this is like this non-existent, non-provable, kingdom that existed for Arthurian and all that. It's all legendary.
And Jackie O, I'm sick of these. Why do they call it? Why can't they just call her Representative Cortez? Why do they have to call her AOC? Why do they make her special like that?
Because
You know what I'm saying?
it
No, I'm
clicks.
saying if they wouldn't, they like do it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they create this-
they're like promoting her.
It's more clickbait.
AOC.
Yeah.
Why? Why AOC? When she's a representative, just call her representative.
Cortez, yeah.
Or Cortez. And
Yeah.
but you know what? They do that. She won't be as popular.
Well, there was something to do about her actually not being who she says she is. I mean, she went to private
But
schools
it
and all
doesn't
that.
matter. She already played it off.
Yeah, I just get tired of the image makers, and then once the image has actually been, like you said, the curtain's been pulled back, it still persists. They still persist in trying to maintain that front. I mean, why don't you just be more honest and genuine, and actually don't have to have a PR firm behind you? I mean, guess what? I'd rather see a person presented up front, warts and all, from the beginning. And I think some ways that was Trump. I mean, I never I didn't think he was this great moral man. I really didn't. I mean, he was like, he has to be
But
kind
if
of
he
dirty.
want, okay, he's done some things, right? But
Right.
if he really did bad things, don't you think? Don't you think they're digging all the time?
They're always digging.
That's what the thing is. Maybe it's just like, oh, we got this on you. Wow, we got this on you. Oh, well, crap. I guess this is this is nowhere going to go on this. We can't go because we're both bought as guilty.
Well, one thing about Trump I like, he just does it right there in public. He doesn't. There's no way he hides it. I mean, he does it right there in public. They, like Steve said, they dig on him all
Well,
the time.
November, I think the Republicans are in for a rude awakening.
I mean,
I think they're going to lose the House and
because of that big, beautiful.
because
bill.
they're idiots.
yeah.
I mean, did you dig into the no tax on tips? It's
No.
only up to I don't know what a waitress makes in tips, but it only goes up to 25,000, and then it's just a tax. Then it's just a what's the word I'm looking for? When you get $25,000 off, which it only equals out to like $3,000.
What?
And then the no tax and overtime is only, I think it's 15,000.
That's bullshit. Yeah, they should lose
It's a
it.
deduction.
Or it's like, okay, and other,
They should lose it because of that. Because that is bullshit. You lied to the people on that one.
Yeah.
I don't give a crap. About the list.
What is no tax?
don't-
If I say there's no tax on tips, what does that mean to you?
no tax.
No tax
right,
on tips
right,
that you get it right then.
right.
If I say there's no tax on overtime, what is it?
No
That you're going to
tax
get it
on
right
tips.
then,
Right.
right?
No, right.
No, it only applies to federal taxes.
So the rest of the state and all the local ones.
State,
can
local,
still-
you still have to pay.
You're still going to pay overtime
Right.
unless the states do the mimic and give you some kind of a tax credit.
Well, that one I kind of figured was going to be that way because the state's always going to go out.
But you get the biggest bang for federal anyway.
Yeah,
Sure.
but the thing is, like, all these people here is like, well, this group should pay more. This group should pay more. If we're looking at how
Well,
much we're
I don't
paying,
think-
why don't we address why we're paying them?
If the president said no tax on tips, there should be no tax
Right.
on tips.
Right. I mean, it's like, yeah, exactly. All the time, all the
But,
money you make.
oh
you should keep.
no, we're going to write it so
And-
it's a deduction.
Well, you bring up a point too that I didn't think of. It's like at some point there is some kind of bookkeeping going because we'll say we'll allow you up to this much. Well, it means you already are keeping track of how much this person's getting in tips. Otherwise, how much do they know when that tax is going to kick in? So there's going to be some kind of surveillance mode or some
Right.
kind of reporting mode going in. So I mean,
Welcome back to more IRS.
Right.
I thought we were getting rid of them.
we can't get rid of it.
I think you don't want government in your business.
No, I mean,
It's been like gray money.
Well, what do you think about Elon Musk saying, "Hey, we need to come back out with a new
No, I
party"?
just think it's a coincidence. Everything it comes out, it happens every time. It's like look over here, guys. We're doing something else over here.
You know,
I'm
so
gonna
it's-
argue with Elon Musk this weekend. Well, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
just cover
So what's the cover for? What do you
for
think?
whatever they want to do.
yeah,
I'm wondering what the next thing is.
that's what we did. That's what basically consider on either just kind of a dream up or can actually keep you awake at night. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we don't know what's going to come down the pipe. We don't.
Well, I know Brennan and I know that Comey. I know those two guys are.
Okay, what
for
difference is
arrested.
it? Okay,
They're
so
not-
what?
nothing's
Okay,
gonna
so
happen.
what if they spend 6 months dragging them through court system and they jail them? Is it going to make you any
It's-
better?
No.
It's,
Is
it's
it going to
not,
fix anything?
and nothing's going to happen with them anyway. I
No.
guarantee you, they're going to spend
And
millions of
that's it.
dollars and nothing's going to happen.
That's it.
I mean, look at Diddy. Look at this little Epstein list. Oh yeah, you got to look at it. This is so important. This is so what list? I mean, from that to contensity to like what? What are you talking? I can't believe you're bringing this up. I mean, that's what it's going to do. I mean, these guys know that they'll never be because there's too much against everybody else. They all have the goods on each other.
Why
You know?
didn't you just say that? Why couldn't you just said that on that whole thing? You know what? We could not do their list because there's so many freaking perverts in the political world. We couldn't do anything. Sorry. I wish Pat and Mommy would have said that.
You see, I remember during the Watergate era, I was like outraged that this president was accused of that. And I was like, well, I was like 9, 10 years old when it came out, going out. And I said, well, if they're like corrupt, they should remove from office. My brother, he's like 18, 19 at this time, and my mom just started laughing at me. And they said, they try to coach in a kid term. It's like, dear, my mom said, dear, if they removed everybody who was dirty in politics, you'd have nobody in politics. And I was offended by
That's
that.
not a bad idea.
But I mean, I was like, as I got older, my mom was not being overly cynical.
But
She
you think
wasn't.
about it now. What Nixon did is nothing.
Nothing. I mean,
Nothing. Now he
he did what
he
they do
should
on a
have
Monday.
stepped down
what is Sweet
for
Home?
recording people.
Well, it's like Sweet Home Alabama said, like that song in Sweet Home, Watergate does not bother me, does it bother you? No, it didn't bother me then. It didn't. I mean, he just had somebody try to find out what the opposition was doing. And the only thing I say is he was stupid enough because she should have actually knew the pulse of the nation was against McGovern at that point and anybody else, the Democratic Party, because they didn't offer anybody. McGovern was an idiot. An idiotic choice to choose that. I didn't like McGovern as a kid. As a kid, I was outraged by him. I thought he was a communist. The way he came across. So I mean, he was stupid. I mean, at that point, he certainly was not
I was
bad.
too busy riding my bike and
Mhm.
putting cards in the spokes.
So I got kicked out of day camp because I got in a fight with a McGovern supporter. He was like 14 years old. He shouldn't have been in the classroom. It was like
How old were you?
I was like 9, 10, 11, something like
And you
that.
got kicked out
Yeah.
at 9 or 10 years old
Yeah.
because somebody.
Yeah, because he was like he was wearing an army jacket with the upside down flag on it.
I was
which,
too busy playing
Huh?
basketball.
yeah.
I was too
I just-
busy playing
I
basketball.
just remember the rumor that if McGovern got in, that he was going to make us go to school year round.
That was bad enough. Yeah. Well, another thing is I didn't like he wanted to outlaw inheritances, but his family's well heeled, so I don't see that was gonna. I think that in retrospect, but and the other thing is too, McGovern later on after he left office started trying to get in business, and he realized a lot of the legislation he'd probably bring about actually was detrimental to starting businesses, and he actually expressed regret for it, which is a rarity amongst politicians. But I just think that I just don't. I don't have any trust for it. I had begrudgingly trust. I really held back. I didn't. I was not enamored with Donald Trump. I was not.
But
When?
what about the floods in Texas? How they're trying to blame it on Trump?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
They're trying
that
to,
was
immediate.
okay.
despicable.
The cuts that he was going to do,
And to take
they're not
effect.
going to. They weren't not going to. Well, I mean they're not going to take effect until October.
Yeah, so it's. I knew as soon as they were talking about cutbacks in the federal government, I didn't know what the extent. But as soon as this happened, they start. I knew it's like you're going to blame this on Trump somehow. And I don't say. See, even if he's just talking about it, it hasn't occurred yet, so you can't possibly put this on his plate.
But I heard somebody say, "Oh, the flood came out of nowhere." You freaking idiot! That's what a flash flood is. If you ever lived in, I lived in Texas,
Yeah.
So that
and I was in California with the flash floods. They do come out of nowhere, you dumbass.
Well, I just saw it one time here. It was summertime. It was hot and humid, and we had a real quick sudden downpour. Tornado. I'm not talking about during the thunderstorms. Well, I knew there was 3 kids killed in a storm sewer because they were in there before the storm hit. And they were doing
right.
and the rush of water was so intense it killed them. It killed 3 boys. Okay, and that was like in the early '90s, like '91, '92. That happened in.
I
Okay,
mean, how many times have you seen the Flint River
it just
come up?
yeah, so quick.
That quick.
I live right on the river too. I can
Right.
when I see it coming up, I say, okay, my basement's gonna be just filled up pretty soon. But
A flash flood is a flash flood.
right,
But
And
that's what they were trying to say is they created this.
and this is politicians
And
saying
then
this
this
shit.
idiot, they had like CNN and different channels, MSNBC had the greenies on trying to say it's climate change that caused this.
it's like if the climate change. I remember reading historical
Right.
accounts of immediate washouts during storms in Texas
Well,
and
what
other
happens is
places.
in the dryness, the ground is dry,
Mhm.
it gets hard as concrete,
Right.
it doesn't absorb the water. And what's water going to do? Water is going to find the easiest flow, right?
Right.
Right.
Just like it's like yeah, I've seen it. It's like it's hard packed.
I
I've seen
mean,
parts of Michigan like that.
when I was stationed at Fort Hood, we just had these big cuts. I mean, like I'm talking deep. I'm talking like 25 feet. And then I said, "Where does this come from?" And this is from flash flooding.
Just the amount of water comes down so fast in a storm, and then it like here we got storm sewer set up, and it's piped to go right down to the the river, and just poof it goes in. You're washing everything out. It's on the street, gets
Water
washed
finds
down.
the easiest way to get
Right.
to where it's going to go. It's not going to fight itself. It's
The
going to go
least
the
the
easiest.
least path of
Right.
resistance.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it is tragic. Though. I mean, I'm gonna say
No,
horrified,
I mean,
but I
like
mean,
that camp where
yeah.
the 28 girls
I just,
were just
Instead of
gone.
sitting,
But the thing is, okay, we do have technology with us, but sometimes you get these alerts. How many times you got a tornado thing that you just damn tornado and that's it?
right.
You did nothing.
Ignored it because let's face it, it happened, and then maybe last week or something. Oh, nothing happened. You went down the basement, nothing happened.
But I seen a thing where they got like 7 alerts.
And they just
well,
Well, the thing is, a lot of them came when they were sleeping, like 4:30 in the morning, 5:30,
start at 1
6
o'clock in the morning.
o'clock. Yeah.
So
If you don't have your phone, if you turn on do not disturb or whatever, it's not. Well, I think it's supposed to break through, isn't it?
yeah,
yeah.
but I mean, as soon as he heard about it, he got right on it. I mean, and they were overstaffed. The offices and everything were overstaffed. And guess who? Rosie O'Donnell from Ireland
Yeah.
decided to give her,
2 cents,
input.
right?
Yeah, her 2 cents because she has to, get her fat ass in and everything, and talk about it because Lord knows she, from her fat ass from Ireland has to talk about everything.
But people of Ireland, by the
Yeah,
way,
but
I
he's
apologize.
the-
She went there.
He is the president of the United States, right?
Right.
Right.
Okay. Each state has a governor.
Right.
Yes.
They have senators.
Yes.
They have representatives.
Yep.
They have police officers.
Yep.
But you're going to blame
The
One
one
person.
one
man.
man in Washington D.C. for what happened.
And if he had taken measures, and even though they maybe have been beneficial for them, they would have criticized him and blasted him for overstepping his bounds.
what was he going to do? Bring the
Welcome to
National Guard
California.
in and go clear out houses?
Right.
Although the Cajun Navy showed up.
Well, what pissed me off about that was the pediatrician woman who actually wrote what she wrote on her Facebook.
Who's that?
Just some pediatrician that worked for a place called Big Fish or Little Fish or something like that, or Blue Fish. She wrote, if you didn't vote, if you were not a MAGA person.
Yeah, they were trying to make it political and saying that they deserved it because they voted for Trump.
Oh, yeah, see,
They
that's-
got what they
She's a
deserved.
pediatrician. And I of all the things that pissed me off about it, I was driving home and I was reading that and I'm like, you know what? I don't give a crap about anything. I feel bad about the families who lost everybody and the ones who died. I got more pissed about that woman
Yeah,
than
but
anything else.
did you even did it even flash in your head whether they were Republican or Democrat?
No,
No,
that's not the first thing that comes. They're
That's
children.
a normal
kids.
person thinks like that.
They're freaking 8-year-old freaking
Yeah,
kids.
I've seen that when I was at the college. Every time something happened to a conservative person or a person who advocated
Well,
something, they would say, "And well, it serves them right. It's
but the
God's revenge on them."
racism
You know?
of the EBTs is high
Yeah.
on TikTok. They're happy because it was white people that died.
I saw that.
I mean, it's like, okay, the violence and they say, well, they don't care about the violence in inner city, communities. Well, it's up on the people who lead those inner
They
city
always.
communities.
How many times did you say it? How many times has Trump said about the number of children or people that were killed in Chicago?
Right.
They're always saying it. Republicans are always talking about Chicago in Houston, in Detroit. Well, not so. Detroit's
Newark, New
not as
Jersey,
bad.
Detroit's not as
LA.
bad as Chicago.
Yeah, it's like,
Well, they're always talking about that it's horrible.
yeah, and this
The
like,
crime's up.
and they bring it up, and then they say, "Oh, you're just being racist." That's
Yeah,
just say that's how
well,
they
no.
dismiss it.
But that's what I'm happy that all this is changing around. That people are holding the EBTers to accountable for their actions,
Yeah, I am too. I mean,
and they're surprised when they get caught.
Oh god, yeah. What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I accidentally ran that Kool-Aid packet as a TV. It just happened. And I wasn't even thinking.
it's
I
like,
was just checking out.
well, I think you've seen this happen. People, you here in Michigan where they still allow drinks to be, UBT card to be used to buy drinks like, pops and stuff. People would actually get like some crap type of, pop, go and then actually either sell it and then get want the cans
I don't
back.
mind if they sell it. It's theirs.
Right.
If they want to sell it,
They can do what they
they
want.
can do what they want.
But-
But when you're purposely going out and popping holes and stuff and just pouring it in the parking
Yeah.
lot.
I've seen that plus dump it in the lakes or river or
No,
something.
I've
I've seen them
seen
do
it
that too.
happen. I
I
mean,
have
I
too.
had when I worked in McLeod and Pearson Road, and these two people came up to the bank and said, the pop's on sale for it was well back then it was like 100 years ago. It was on sale for like $1 something
Right.
for a 12 pack, and they said, "How many can I get for $50?" So we did the math. They went and they bought all these cases of pop. They went out to the parking lot and just cut the cans and poured it out just so they could get maybe $16 in the deposit. I don't think, in my opinion, yeah, let them have a Coke or whatever, but don't pay the deposit.
Right,
Right.
right. You see, like my friend one time, he was up there by Stepping Stone Falls, and there's like the section like across the street from the falls. He was going by there, and these people had a big bunch of cases of pop, and it was a cheaper pop,
Right.
and they're pouring it into the river. And he goes, well, he bought a couple of cans off of them, and he put them in his backpack. But I mean, he said, "What you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm going to take them back to get the cans." And so he said, "I never seen people do that." I said, "Yeah, when you sell it, you get more money off of it. You get it for basically, it's not your money going into it; it's what you are allotted by the state or the federal government.
Well, at
So
the
just still making
time,
money
at
off
the
of it,
time, it did work out within like 40 cents of what they had to pay.
right?
I-
You know what I'm saying? With the return on the deposit
I watched it
before inflation.
I watched some of the YouTube. You and I talk about doing the YouTube and watching people, more than watching news about things. And so I was watching about this big beautiful bill thing about EBT and
Yeah.
people having to work 20 hours or volunteering 20 hours and stuff like that and losing their
And there's
benefits.
waivers in there too.
There's tons of waivers. And I kept listening to these people. They're like, how am I supposed to go back to work? I can't. I have 7 kids, and I'm thinking, so what's your point?
You got some activity down, don't you?
You learn one activity. What other thing? 20 hours, and then in it you can volunteer. You can go back to school. There's so many things you can do for 20 hours a week. Better yourself, and all they're doing is telling you to better yourself in 20 hours a week. I don't see where that's a problem.
It shouldn't be.
I mean, the tax people across this world are actually saying, what, we
Well,
will
I
fill
do
this
have a
bill.
problem with the price of gas, the price of a babysitter, because we're going to have to pay for the babysitter. I'll give you an example. The bank that I worked at, there was a person that worked there.
Right?
they were getting more money for daycare than they were making working there.
That is hard.
It cost us more money for the daycare
Than it does
than
for
it did for her to come into work.
See, that wouldn't make sense to me. It's just ridiculous. I mean, yeah, okay,
But there are things that you can do from home now for the 20 hours. There's things you can work with people and learn from
Yeah,
school
but
and stuff like that. There are
not
things you
everybody
do
can
better.
do it.
right.
I mean, a lot of these EBTers don't have the knowledge or the speaking skills to talk to somebody on the phone.
You know, this.
I mean, you see it on TikTok. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
So I mean, it's like the thing is, we've allowed this happen for so long. There's a culture
Yeah, there's
developed
a
around it.
culture.
There's a
A
developed around
culture
it.
like
We've allowed this
they're like the
culture to grow.
stupidest people in the world.
But because and
And
actually,
they only think like a day. What they may think about tomorrow. They don't plan for next week or next year or next month.
well, see, one time I was passing out campaign literature down the street from here where their school is still open, and that was a polling place. And my friend was running for as a Republican here, and I passed this literature to a woman. She looked through. Oh, he sounds nice. Is he a Republican or Democrat? And I said he's a Republican. She hands it back to me. She said, and this goes to show how far back. She goes, my mom told us we should always vote for Democrats because they help us people on welfare out. This is like obviously 2 to 3 generations deep in this
Well, I
family.
remember when we had that meeting with Eric Mays and all these other people that were supposed to be in the know,
Yeah.
and they didn't take an account of that we've got. At that time, we had like 5 generations of people on welfare,
Yeah. They
and
did.
they're happy being on welfare. I mean, that's their lifelong dream is to go get that or get the disability check.
Well, it was more rampant in the '70s too. Like I remember families were on well, but those are usually single moms, to having kids, and they got like a 16, 15, 16-year-old daughter, and she's having issues with the girl, and the social worker for the mom now becomes like a de facto confidant for the family. And I've heard many instances, not all of them. I'm not going to say that, but there were a lot of them would say, well, to the girl, well, if you get pregnant, we can get you your own house, we can get you this kind of benefit, we can get you this, get you that. So they basically encourage single motherhood.
No, I know. I heard
Yeah,
that.
and I've seen this happen on my own. So people don't tell me this doesn't happen. I see it too many times to ignore anyway.
I've actually seen it firsthand. I watched it and I'm like, I cannot believe it. Someone's like, well, are you pregnant? In the person I was with, they're like, no, they're like, well, if you got pregnant, we can give you more money.
Right.
Or we can give you money. And I'm like, wait, what? And they're like, well, if they're pregnant, we can give them money. And I'm like, so you're gonna pay someone to get pregnant? And they're like, well, yeah. And I'm like, how about just helping them with, because all he needs is a short-term assistance. But you want to put them on this whole thing? We've paid people to be nothing but stay-at-home. Nothing.
Right.
I mean, so what type of desire you got to make it through the next day? I mean, all we've done is created people to not want to do anything. And it's like what you said. It's what a fifth generation. You've given up on life. Because what have you? What do you want to be? I mean, what? I was thinking about this the other
A
day.
ward of the government
What?
is what they want to be.
Well, there's
And a victim.
yeah. So there's
Oh, they're all victims.
see,
Especially, I just seen a homeowner who's had 3 break-ins over the last year. Got fed up with it. Got Ring cameras. They came back and he shot 3 of them, killed one, and then of course they're upset with the homeowner.
yeah, because you think your stuff is more important than a human life. It's like, yeah, well, they're coming in.
They do.
Yeah, they do. But another thing is going back to this thing. I mean, there was this woman in the neighborhood who was very sexually promiscuous, and she ended up getting some kind of disease that actually impaired her ability to have children. And she tried to get pregnant. The state, she had no means of support other than state support. They paid for the surgery to correct that so she can have kids. She's produced 3 or 4 kids, and the only option she had to state was on welfare. She was always on the system. And they paid for this corrective surgery so she could get pregnant, so she could stay on the system. This is true case story right here in the neighborhood.
No, it's disgusting.
I mean, it's like
But how are you going to fix it?
it's like yeah, because you don't want to be hard ass. I mean, I don't want people starving to death. I want them to live in nice houses and nicer houses, have like heating when in the winter. I want food in their bellies. I don't want them to be totally. I'm not a heartless person. I grew up on the edge of poverty, or just on the edge of it. And I don't want to see that. I want social programs. I'd rather pay for social programs. I guess it's going to infuriate a lot of conservatives. I'd rather pay for social programs that benefit Americans than sending bombs all over the world. And
But I want it to be the sick, infirmed, elderly.
right,
And the ones that want to get off of that crap.
right. And that's what the thing is our
Well,
education.
but the government doesn't help them get off.
No, it doesn't.
They just wanna-
There's no incentive to get off it, because what happens if you try to better yourself and you do get a job? You just lost your safety net. It should be there for maybe a year.
Well, see, another thing, my friends and I sat down. We actually met. We try to present this to politicians. It's have like a step up program. You basically you support people with all the needs, medical, health care, whatever.
Yeah,
And
and you let them work for a
Right.
year, and still a year, or I don't care, 24 months. You let them work
Right.
and have that money, and then over that 24-month period,
Get them.
you draw it back until it's zero.
See, I
And
would.
then you also give them like a probation period. If they fail, then you pick them up again.
Yeah, see, I mean, I don't. You can't write off your population and not have a devastating effect on the society. I mean, I have a social work background. I'm not a liberal by any measure, but
Yeah, you are.
in some ways, I am a libertarian.
We
But
just forgot
but I
to
mean,
tell you.
if you're going to we tax people already, I'd rather see it go to people than the military-industrial
I'd rather,
complex.
Well, I'd
I mean,
rather keep the military complex going.
I'd rather it go to churches and organizations like that are properly
Right.
vetted,
And they also,
that they can, because they know their community.
besides, they probably there's this connection to people saying, you've been doing this for a long time. Have you done this? Have you completed this program? To keep kind of a fire underneath their butts.
Bring the churches back alive is what I'd like to do.
But having a degree doesn't mean anything
No,
anymore.
no, it
It's
doesn't.
just too easy to get a degree.
It's like, yeah, I mean,
I'm talking a basic piece of paper.
right.
Anybody can do it now.
Right. You can go to the line and get a degree. No one checks it.
Yeah, it's like, well, they have had people.
I'm saying basic degree. I'm not saying something where you actually have to study like astrophysics or something like
Right,
that.
right.
I'm just saying, oh, I got a degree in business. I got a degree in social working.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, everything's become like a degree mill. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, like the big major ones we got in this town are basically like degree mills.
Oh, we've got so many social workers and so many people with masters in business
Right.
that are on welfare.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you don't know how to you take those classes so you know how to apply it in the real world, and it is scary to try to go back to get your capital. You went through that. You try to how to get the loans and stuff, right?
It still is scary.
Yeah.
It's still scary. It's still scary when you come out with a new product. We're working on a new product right now, and I'll be honest with you, we are working on a new product right now coming out, and even coming with what we're working on, the hardships we are facing.
Mhm.
Trying to get the right texture, trying to get the right product, trying to get the right everything.
Well,
Building it with a friend that you introduced me to.
yeah,
you guys are
like
friends
they're
with.
trying to hold him back. So
It's hard.
there's so many roadblocks for the poor guy. And plus, it was already an established business.
Right.
I know it's been closed for a couple of years, but it was already a restaurant.
Yeah.
And they're treating it like it's a brand new restaurant. Well, I mean, it's a different name.
Yeah, but it's the same building. It's got all
Same
the,
building, same structure, same equipment.
and it's
You've got
got
all these closed businesses, all these closed buildings, up and down streets. Instead of giving everybody a heartache,
Yeah, why not just go in there and
Let people-
fix all these things? Find somebody who wants to run it, let them run it, and pay to own.
all we had, you can go every street, you can count 10. No, I'm sorry, I'm over exaggerating. I don't want to do that anymore. On every corner, pretty much, you can find a cannabis street. You can find a cannabis store.
Then a
Can
lot of
we-
them are closed down now.
Yeah. Can we please now get stores open? Can we please now get things where people can go in and grab something and go somewhere where people can go see something? You said something, everyone's got master's degrees in businesses. Can we please get consultants back in here? Can we please get things in this community to build things? I don't sick and tired of watching politicians sit there telling me everything that they want to do. Get the stupid, clean, open. You have all these stupid open buildings. You're collecting taxes on them, and they're doing. You're not collecting anything on them. Nobody, nothing's going in there, right? Open them up. Let people be there, and let businesses come in there. Open up different things. Inspire people to actually open up the
But
different
like I said,
ideas.
go in. Okay, you got a restaurant that that's government owned. fix it. Let somebody run it. If it takes off, it takes off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that-
instead of putting people in jail and have them sit their butts in the middle of the thing, get pissed off, have fights all day long, stabbing at each other, teach them freaking skills. I
Remember-
mean, teach a person how to work on a car.
Remember junior achievement? Did you remember
Yeah,
that? Yeah,
yeah.
we had that. My sister had it. She went through it, and it taught them how to. They have business people on there. They showed you, oh, here, what kind of product you want to adopt. So they just group adopt this. Oh, here's what's going to take to make this. They break it all down. Look at material costs. Look at their time. They did really well. They made cookie sheets, and they made really nice cookie sheets, and they sold hundreds and hundreds of them.
Right.
They did really well. And that's what it is. See, small businesses are going to be, are still, it should be the backbone. The corporations got the politicians, and they can eliminate the possibility.
Well, that's what they do is they put mom and pop out of business.
Right.
And
They make it so hard for them. They go and bribe the city to make it harder for them to stay in business.
Well,
and the politicians are the problem, and that's the headache of the whole thing because of their stupid rules and laws and all their stupid regulations.
Well, years ago, we had a guy who was like, trying to open up, was on the Corona Road there. He was trying to open up a used bookstore. No, that's an innocuous business. It doesn't attract a bad clientele or anything, right?
Right.
So there should be no opposition to that. The parking was plenty. There had been
Right.
a hardware store he was opening up. So they had parking. It was fun. We don't need, they actually, he's told by the city council, we don't need those kind of businesses at Flint. I
The
said,
city council needs to sit on their ass and not do a damn thing and let a business open up.
it's-
Unless you're running prostitution out of this thing, that's it.
well, all they'd want to know is like, they want to take a look at the girls and see if they're first class or not, and then see what you choose their favorites.
Basically, most politicians, they just run more money. That's all they give a
That's-
shit.
It's all about who's got the biggest money. It gives them the biggest chunk. They're going to be on your side. That's it. They choose sides. I mean, that's what we do with all this
Outside.
legislation. You know.
But you remember when Popular was going around and extorting money for her charity
Yeah.
from business owners, and she went up against this person who owned a liquor store and wanted like $1,000 to vote for his liquor license.
So she called you because it's
And then
supposed to.
she couldn't understand what she was doing was wrong.
Yeah, she was like, "Well, I'm using it for my charity. I give this money to this organization." Well, you made it sound like it was conditional. You know, his license renewal is conditional to this donation, and that's definitely that's not right.
But that's the type of brain trust that we have in the city of
Right.
Flint.
Yeah, I mean, they were just because they got. I'm here. I've arrived. No, I don't have to follow any rules or regulations. I'm here, and you got to let me.
I
do it.
am the rules
Yeah.
and regulations.
Well, like that, Elsie, his name was Elsie. He was a congressman and senator or something like that in D.C. He said the law is what we say it is. You know, just arbitrarily, you could come up with a law in that role, and that's what the local politicians on the local level do. I mean, they do it all the
Well,
time.
think about it. They can make an ordinance in Genesee Township with just 3 readings.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's it.
Well, I mean, they got to put it in a paper,
Yeah.
and they use this
Right.
obscure paper. Have you ever heard of the Herald?
Yeah.
Yeah.
File Herald?
Yeah.
They put it in there,
So it meets the qualifications. It's got to be publicly
Yeah.
available. Yeah.
and nobody reads it.
And it's like, where's it at? Well, it's lining my bird cage right now. So I'll see if but
Here's the thing I think you do need. You need the fire department to be able to look at it and say, hey, you know what? There's no fire hazards in here, and how many people could be in here at one time?
right.
That's what you do need.
No, but you already know it's more than that.
But no, I
For
know.
that restaurant, I was surprised the double they're doing the same inspection. The state, the county,
Yep.
and the city are
Yep.
all doing the same exact inspection.
Because they all want their money.
But one charges like $1,000, one charges $700
And one charges $300
for the same
license.
inspection.
See, that's like that's the biggest thing. If you eliminate those kind of obstacles, it's like I said, when we had the roof put on the side of the studio a few years ago, they wanted a building permit. I can understand if we're building onto the thing, but putting
It was a patch. It
Yeah, it was a
wasn't even
patch. Yeah.
But they made us pay what
140, I think it was $140 for that.
and that's because Home Depot ratted us out.
See, they're under obligation to report. You know, we delivered the materials to this site and it's for this. I mean, you should be. I mean, if you saved up enough money to get somebody to help you do this job, and you got the materials to do the job, you shouldn't have a government saying, "Where's our cut? Where's our cut?"
It was a patch. It
Yeah.
wasn't even
It wasn't a redo.
no.
No, it's just
But homeowners are allowed to patch the roof.
oh no, we don't want that because we want to make sure you're safe.
Well, you're lucky.
How's the $140
You
I
had to
paid
pull
you
a
makes me
permit for the when the tree fell on the power line, pulled the mast off the house.
Yeah, oh, get this. The guy said they come inspected after the electricians reinstalled $1,800, by the way. He came at was 100, that was a portion of that was like $200 that went towards that price to the inspector. He came up to walk up the hill, looked at the box. That's it. Had a the sticker on this board. He signed that up, peeled it off, and stuck it on the side of the box. As in the inspection. That was $200.
Well,
I mean, obviously it was done this code because I didn't know it was a guy fully professional, licensed and everything. So $1,800. I mean, and I can't default. You got to make a living, but $200 going to this guy just looking at the box.
Mhm.
He didn't look it up. He didn't come. Anyway, so that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's up to par and stuff, but I mean, I don't know. It just angers me because people got to be employed. Yeah, but my dad used to say, I don't mind you making a living. I just don't make it all off of me alone. Okay, and that's what you're doing. The repetitiveness too, like all these institutions that want their cut. It's like you're discouraging commerce. You might want to go to a restaurant someday, and you're going to help put these people out of business who want to provide that.
The problem is that like when Steve was explaining all those stupid inspections you have to go through, all those stupid licenses. That business owner, before he starts, he has to put all that money up even before he even opens.
Right.
So before he even opens, he has to have all that money up in play before he even gets to even open the door the first day. And that's even the hope that the first customer even comes in and buys. So before he even starts the business, he's already in the hole 10, 15, $20,000 hoping to get out of that hole no matter whatever you come into.
And
Whatever.
some of these aren't even health related.
No.
These
No.
things.
It's
that you're
aesthetic
paying for.
stuff.
No, it's like is that piece of paper going to hold or not that paper, but is that booth, is that booth the way I like it? Well, okay, that's not a health concern. It's just the way you want it versus the way it's supposed to be because you like it versus this way. That's what it is. Honest to God, truth. Some of it is just a person the way they want it.
Well, years ago, back in the urban renewal for us in the 70s, my dad had taken down a backboard my brother had for a basketball hoop, right? He took it off the garage and he put a new board on, but he didn't paint it. They inspected the house. They made sure that the plumbing was up this, nothing leaking in the back,
Right.
all that. He came and the guy started about that board. My dad said, yeah, I can paint it. He goes, well, you better, because if you don't, I could condemn your entire house. Just over one unpainted board on the damn garage.
Well, good God.
That was ridiculous. My dad said, you're out of your mind, but he went and got it. We got it painted the next day, but it's just absurd. These people, they got to have a job and they got to make sure they throw their weight around to justify having that job, and then they're getting their paychecks. I mean, that's all we exist for them to have a paycheck.
Or look at you. You got a vehicle parked in your yard.
Right.
And they don't like it.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with the vehicle.
Right. They just don't like it.
They just don't like it.
Right.
So
they got to,
because it looks like nobody's driving it because it's trying to be sold.
Right.
But government's coming in and saying you can't have that vehicle in your yard.
You pay taxes on the house. You pay the water bills. You pay all the electrical bills. It's a going house, a viable house. But we don't like what you're doing. I mean, I can understand if it was a threat to the neighbors, but they're not complaining about it. They're just cars sitting there. Okay.
So you have a car in your drive to sell.
Yeah.
And the city's having a problem.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They put a sticker on it. Yeah.
They put a sticker
to get it. It's
what 20 days was it?
Yeah, 20-day one. Yeah.
It's almost done.
Yeah.
Next week it will be.
So you have to drive it around.
Let's get the person that owns it. It's another person that owns it. He I guess he got it excused or whatever and got him. But I mean, yeah. I don't understand this. It says your property. You're taking care of your property. You're paying taxes on it. How can they tell you? I mean, could you imagine living under a homeowners association?
Is the grass around the?
The grass is cut and everything.
They haven't been moved for a while.
Yeah, they haven't moved in a while, but still, I mean.
So you can't
have
park a car in your driveway.
Well, it's parked in the garage.
It was even worse. It was even worse than that a few years ago when the city was more, had more people. Yeah, I
mean, the police would come in and give you, if you parked in front of your house.
Yeah.
On the grass, they would ticket you.
Yep, on your own property. You're parking your own car because maybe you had 2 or 3
maybe
people.
Maybe you want to unload at the door.
Yeah. Right.
On the grass, but if you stayed there too long, you get a ticket from the city of Flint.
And another thing is like somebody pull into your driveway that's visiting, and they actually part of the car back of the car was touching the sidewalk. You get a ticket for that.
Oh my goodness! No
I mean,
wonder
he could have been there for an hour or two, but no. We had one particular cop who was known to be a fiend for that stuff. He was like, enforcement fiend. I mean, he wasn't a bad cop or prick, and most cops are. But anyway, but he wasn't for that. He was a stickler for that. He was like hated for that. I mean, he got people for like all kinds of stuff. I mean, it was stuff that was like just developed. He wouldn't even give a chance to explain. He'd write a ticket. I mean, but that's revenue. That's all that's about. See, cops are not there to help do this noble stuff for protecting you. They're not an obligation to do that.
No, they're doing what they're told
They
to
do.
they're
do.
doing what they're told to do, and they have to do because of under contract
Right.
from their job.
So it's like they work for the other people. They don't work for us, though we pay for them, indirectly.
Well, they're doing their job because they have to do their job, or they're going to get fired.
We're all basically everything rolls downhill, and it's what it is. I mean, so I can be sympathetic to some degree. I don't try to give them too much grief. I mean, I know a lot of times they overstep their bounds because they think they have a badge and they can come up with bullshit out of the air and out of thin air and get it stick to be impress people. But I'm not impressed by it. But no, I think it's overregulation but people talk about that and Trump
Yeah,
should be
but
more.
but when you're hiding 200 feet from an intersection at 2 o'clock in the morning and it's dead,
Yeah.
and you got binoculars and you're waiting for people to roll through the intersection without coming to a complete stop. You're sort of a penis head.
Well, another thing is too, like in Europe, they always say, and I don't usually, but the cars are the
I
police.
have a friend who's
Yeah.
a police officer who does that.
Yeah,
And he brags about
the
it.
police cars are.
I got 10 last night.
It's like one time we had a street in Flint right over the east side. It used to be a thrill street, and then they decided to put a stop sign in there. Got everybody because they were so, especially the people who live there, just roll right past it. So the cops were just right around the corner, and they kept on writing ticket after ticket. So somebody just boldly went up, took a sign, and said, "The police are around the corner," leaned it against the stop sign, and the cops were furious. They had an arrow.
It's like, remember the no hose zone?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I got a collection of those. They had a no hose zone, because of the prostitutes around. They had them in different places in neighborhoods where they would congregate, like little intersections, and it had like no hose zone or something like that. I got like 3 or 4 of them, so it's like they're gone now because we're even gone. We've gone so bad the prostitutes abandoned us.
They don't even come around.
That's pretty sad. It's like when your hookers leave, man, it's a
when
bad
they're
situation.
too poor,
Yeah.
and the whores ain't. Yeah, that's too bad.
One time I was like walking back, this woman was actually kind of attractive. I walked past her and she goes, "Can I ask you a question?" I went, "Do I look like a cop?" I went, "No, I don't think you do." And she goes, "Yeah, I can't get a date." She's a hooker. And she started telling me, she goes, "Yeah, my brother dropped me off here." I said, "Drop you off from where?" "Oh, we live in Fenton." So we got imported ones, But I mean, I've heard stories like this. It's fun. It's tragic because you're talking to these people who are putting themselves out there in a very dangerous situation. And you can't, you got, and this is somebody's sister, obviously, which brother seems to know the source of employment for her. But anyway, it's just a tragic situation. But I mean, I
They're
don't
doing
know.
the best they can do with what they can do.
And the thing is,
Their money.
she seemed like attractive, reasonably intelligent, and she asked intelligent questions, and I guess, but I mean, and she was aware of the possibility of being busted by the cops. So I don't know. It's sad that some people just choose a path because they don't value themselves, but then after a certain point of life, I guess you get worn down. I don't know what causes it.
I don't know. With that, I think it's
Play the
time.
music.
It's time to play the music. Okay, where's okay? I can't get to the here. You can need this anyway.
It's time to play the music.
So try to play music. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's I don't know.
I just want to shut this down here. This is
I think it's going to close it.
yeah. Hopefully, can you see it? Yeah, it just froze up. It was working fine. I put new back. I see it now. I see the arrow.